the devil down.
But where are you kind of now with your research? Where is it taking you?
Yeah, it got a bit dark for a while because I started to decipher the symbolism that is very much in our mainstream every day. So it's a double-edged sword, you know. It's like you want to achieve something, you want to understand the world, but then suddenly you're thinking to yourself, okay, if I talk about this, it is going to be very dark, and my brain works really quickly now with symbolism because I think it is its own language in a way. And it's communicating some really it is a hell of a time to be alive. I'm just saying, because without the internet, this was not possible, and I think that that's why we can kind of disregard almost all of our written history, you know, let alone our secondary education, which was obviously a complete joke. But now the darkness is coming out for me a lot, and it's happening a lot. And there are things that I don't think I want to discuss with anyone, that I have pretty much that I think my intuition is making it hard for me to avoid, maybe. But yes, there are curses and demonic things in everything we do, and I'm not just talking about, you know, if you willingly make that decision to do the research, right, and to look into the history, but when you realize why they are saying these things, and it's really all about creating illusions that destroy our ability to think for ourselves. And there are, and I think that the people that worship these demonic entities are very well versed in the Bible. But when I studied the Bible at a younger age, I was very much part of church and part of these regular activities. We were always told to stay away from, books like the Grimoire, even the Talmud, anything else, anything that wasn't within the Christian narrow frame of reference. But I think that is our biggest mistake. As Christians, we're told to stay away from looking into all of these spiritistic practices, all of the pagan worship, all of the, the Egyptian approach to these various deities that very much tell us a lot about ancestry in the afterlife. But that is our biggest weakness, because the Luciferians, the Satan worshippers, the people that have made that decision, they are looking into the Bible for everything, so that they can, because they believe, I think, that Christians are fools, and that that they can sort of manipulate us by using our own teachings and our own beliefs against us, sort of thing. And yeah, so I think that's a big mistake, because that's very much modern day Christendom too, isn't it? That don't look into these other teachings, don't go into this too much, don't try to understand the symbolism. But when you realize how the Bible is based very much on constellations, on star signs, on these old druidic practices, you have so many references in the Bible that are almost parallel to Egyptian and Babylonian teachings. Even the Hittites, the Hivites, the looking at the stars. If you think about how the wise men deciphered the location of Jesus' birth, these were all astrologers. That's what they would be called today. Back then, they were called magicians, magi's, right? So we have got it all wrong, and we are not looking at the important things. It's almost right in our faces, and we can't see the wood for the trees. Do you ever feel that way?
I do. It feels like my last frontier. Bad,
but then the three wise men that found Jesus are literally studying the stars to find out where Jesus was born. But at the same time, we're being told that is pagan, that is spiritism. We do not look at the stars; they're not important.
Especially when you hear that the Messiah is ascended to the stars, to heaven, to some other realm. There we go.
Yep.
Yeah,
Right.
that's so is that so that sounds like where your research is taking you is taking you to the Bible and maybe decoding it. That sound right?
Yeah. Yeah. Trying to decode it. I mean, trying to find the books that are missing. Um,
Mm,
there are quite a lot of books missing. The Book of Giants, Book of Mary, the Book of Jubilees, Enoch as well, the Book of Enoch. I find that very important because it gives you more information about the fallen angels, and
mm,
I mean, simply trying to understand what they looked like and what their intentions were, which I think is very important, because we always presume that these are evil, that the fallen angels were thrown down from heaven. But what are their tools? You know, how are they trying to control this realm? And I think the way they're controlling it is by teaching us that flat Earth is a joke, and the we're living on this ball. We have nowhere to go. We are hurtling through space, and the same numbers always come up. You know, these mundial numbers. Like you get a lot of these kind of like 666 mark of the beast comes up. It's kind of hidden within everything. Then you have 1969, 1969. So you have the three sixes there. You have the nine, which is also important. It's the number for something unfinished, something incomplete. Then you have the number 11, which is the number of the door. So that goes back to the worship of the Roman god Janus, who had two faces. So the sphere itself is also religious symbolism for the worship of Saturn as well, which is the sphere inside the box. So yeah, so unfortunately, every time we are being taught about science at school, we're actually just being taught the Luciferian religion. Yeah, that's what it boils down to for me. Yeah, at this juncture.
what
I
is
try to go into the numbers and the calculations. So we're being told that 23.5% north. Sorry, that we have like Donald Trump trying to buy Greenland because if you get to Greenland, uh, you can work out that the North Pole has actual daytime during the summer solstice, and then so you have the South Pole, which is then night. So I think he's trying to fulfill some kind of prophecy.
mm,
Yeah, I don't think it's about military strategy. I don't think it's about minerals or oil or any of those theories. I think these are all esoteric things that someone's trying to complete a certain number of prophecies in order to successfully bring about the end of the world. Yeah.
yeah.
So if you look at around December the 20th and 21st, that's when he talked about this.
Mm,
He wants it to be complete in the next few years, and any government that goes against him is going to have 10% of their tariffs taken, right? So Germany, Norway, Denmark, Sweden, these are the only countries that can really do anything about it. They're the only kind of wealthy countries with any kind of military. Germany's not going to want to do anything because they're relying on the auto business, right? So by the end of June, which is the sixth month, Donald Trump is then saying the tariffs will go up to 25%. Now that would bankrupt Germany, for example, because they're exporting all of these cars. You know, the I think the Audi's German, the Volkswagen, the Mercedes, yeah, BMW, and then Norway has all of this infrastructure with machinery, so they don't want to lose that money. So money is the way to control the world, and no one's going to stop him buying Greenland. So this is, I think, part of that whole sort of this prophecy. I think it is the sun is above the horizon, circling March the 21st to September 23rd. So that's that period of time that he wants to take over. And then after that,
What
obviously, America's
prophecy is
gonna.
this? What
Sorry.
prophecy is this again? What prophecy is he looking to fulfill that he needs Greenland to have?
Yeah. So Greenland needs to be is an important part of this, because on the spherical Earth map, Greenland is you've got like the northeast, right? But on the this is why the flat Earth map is so important, because it kind of makes sense. I was going to try to bring that up, but basically, in the original Bible, I found it says in the original Bible printed in like 1815, there are 4,004 years since the beginning of the Earth. And is this a bit crazy, or should I carry on?
No,
Okay,
no,
all right. I'm trying
yeah,
to keep it as
I'm
simple as
open
I
to
can.
everything.
Right.
Yeah,
So
I'm
there's
open to everything.
4,004 4,004 years from the beginning, the dawning of man, right? The creation of the earth, the heavens and the earth. And then you have five, I think it's five, how many years exactly? I think they got like 5,000 years, 5,700, maybe nearly 6,000 years from then till today, because you have to add the 2,000 since Jesus was born. Yeah, so you have 5,739 years, 6 months, and 10 days. That's what I worked out. So you've got 1815 to which is you've got another 211 years since the Bible was written. After 1815, the Bible is useless. All of those new translations are useless. They've got everything removed, yeah, including the important prophecies. Now, that makes it exactly 6,000 years from the beginning of the earth to today. Right? It's got to be exactly 2026. Otherwise, it's not going to work. So you've got to have 6,000 years. So that's 4,004 years till Jesus was born. 5,739 until the printing of the Bible, the last original correct Bible, yeah, without all the books removed and everything rewritten, including our calendar, which has also been rebuilt. The Gregorian calendar is not the correct one. So it's exactly 6,000 years until 2026. So that's why this has to happen now. We have to try to learn this now. Yeah. So if we agree that 1,000 years was added, the reason why it was added was to fulfill a prophecy, 6,000 years to the end of the world. Yeah. Yeah. This is all going to happen really fast. The scary thing is that if I am the first person to talk about this, that's kind of scary. But so hopefully everyone is going to start looking into this, because that's how we take the power away and we make this impossible, this end of the world prophecy. Yeah, this is about Armageddon, the end of the world.
Manufactured.
Absolutely manufactured. Yes. This
Okay.
is all.
Okay. Yeah.
This is. But what worries me is that this is the president of America involved in this to some extent. If you look at Greenland, that was the first land that was removed. So Greenland used to be green, used to be luscious, beautiful green mountains. On the original Frau Muro map in the 1600s, 1500s, this was a green, beautiful, like a promised land. So taking Greenland as the mirror image of what you on Earth achieve this today, and don't necessarily believe it. They don't necessarily believe that it's really going to happen. But I think but they are not going to believe anything. That's why they were easily manipulated into doing whatever they're asked to do. So, but again, the important thing here is, do we know what the map looks like? Yeah. So 3,600 or 3,000. They are after that number, which is the only real damage that you can do to humans. That's what these Nephilim found out. That's what they were told by their own fathers and mothers, is to bring our frequency down.
Mm,
Yeah, that's all they seem to be interested in. They're not able to maybe do anything else. Now they can inhabit a person. There are many stories in the Bible of demons being cast into swine, into pigs. So they could inhabit animals. Maybe they could definitely inhabit a person who's willingly giving themselves over to that demonic uh, uh, influence.
mm,
And they are trying to give birth to their own offspring in that way. That's kind of a really kind of dark thing. But it's been going on for a long time, and I think that's why all these dates have been chosen. So so this is something we, I think, need to be aware of. We need to understand why these events happened. None of this is logical to most people. It's just not logical. It doesn't make any sense, and they don't know what's going on. But yeah. If you see the number 666, if you see all of their symbolism, if you see references to Saturnalia, to Satan, Lucifer, anything like that, that is the sort of motivation behind it. So
mm.
so I mean
What
the
is
moon
your?
landing was
Can you help me a
1969.
second? Can you help me with a
Yeah,
second, just with the Lucifer definition? What is the difference? I always grew up with Lucifer was Satan, but I hear some people talk about Lucifer like he's not demonic, he's not satanic, he's not that. Can you help me with that? I know Freemasons talk about Lucifer, but they
yeah.
seem to also conflate it with Jesus. I don't help me out a little bit. I've never quite completely understood how some people use it as I've even
Yeah.
heard it in mainstream, like in Christian churches here. Like I've even heard a Lutheran pastor talk about how Lucifer was this, light something during a
It-
baptism.
yeah, yes. This is a very clever, very intelligent way to repackage Satan as a good person. Now,
Mhm.
Lucifer is the light bringer, right? The
Right.
problem in the Garden of Eden with Adam and Eve is is that they wanted to eat from the tree of knowledge, the tree of good and evil, right? So in that way, if you think of Satan as the snake, or as being able to put himself into the snake and use the snake to communicate with Eve,
Mm,
and get her to eat from this tree, which is what you have at the back of your iPhone. You have the tree, the apple. So through that apple, once she bit the apple, just like Snow White, it's in literally every story. Yeah. Once Snow White eats, she's then she dies, but is reborn. She's reborn by the man. And I think that uh, Lucifer, prior to being cast out of heaven, before he became Satan, or the basic form of his own lowest dimension. Instead of being able to create beauty, music, heavenly realms, being not only a powerful angel, but also very close to God. It says in the Bible, very close to God, very almost like maybe at the right hand of God prior to Michael having obtained that position. We're talking about a powerful, beautiful angel that did everything he was, created for. Can you see what I mean? So you're
mhm,
so you're not lying anymore. You are misleading people if you say that Lucifer is not Satan, but you're not technically lying, because Lucifer was the name that we most of us accept, right? Is the name of Satan prior to being cast out of heaven. Prior to being cast out of heaven, he was most likely powerful, beautiful, righteous, worshiping God for
mm,
millennia. We don't really know specifically the period of time, right? But we do know that at some point, very recently, he was cast out of heaven. Yeah. So yeah, you will see the number 333, 666, 363. Obviously there is a scientific explanation for those numbers, and there's a spiritual, esoteric, and physical explanation for why Lucifer is the name that we use to talk about Satan. Like the TV show Lucifer, is that Satan before or after he was cast out of heaven? Well, it's after. So they're just using a name that they don't have to associate with the evil entity that is the devil that fell from heaven. But the simple fact that he fell from heaven from 6, 7 dimensions to 3 dimensions, or maybe even less than 3. I don't know if he is able to even experience 3 dimensions. But still, if we think of him as our lower self in an esoteric way, think of him as a physical demonic entity that is haunting us, trying to push us to do evil of our own volition. Otherwise, he failed his argument, which is give freedom to these people, and they will do evil, right? Because he's not on your side. I mean, he may give you things to manipulate you for as long as you're here. He may give you all kinds of things, all kinds of beautiful things. But really, his end goal is not for the betterment of mankind. As Lucifer, or before he fell, he may have been the complete opposite. But something in him changed that then made him believe that he can basically, he believes that he can prove that we are all evil. Every human being is going to turn against God as soon as things get hard. Yeah.
Thank you
And
so
I
much
think,
for that. That really did clear it up for me, the before and after. Yeah.
but people still use the word Lucifer today to describe the Satan, the lower frequency physical Satan. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's other words, right? Lightbringer that you mentioned, morning star. Yeah. So so this is a connection to the theology as well, of the Bible. But Lucifer actually only appears, I think, once in Isaiah. Yeah. And yeah. And it's not even clear that it is Satan. So I don't. I mean, I think a lot of this is presumption. Like, people have told us something. It could be the devil trying to call himself Lucifer intentionally. But I think in Isaiah, if I double check that, maybe he isn't, he is a king. He is not. It doesn't say specifically that Satan is Lucifer. Yeah. Yeah. So that's yeah.
So where do we fit in with the flat Earth now? So this is all part
Right.
of the Luciferian sort of doctrine of control and
Right. Yeah. No,
so
that's really what it is. I mean,
yeah.
you've hit the nail on the head there. Uh, um, Almost everything I find, you sort of can presume pretty quickly that you already know the answer, and most of the time you'll be right because it's your gut talking. It's your instinct, right? And but it's not obviously that simple. Um, uh, I don't know if I can show you some images, but
Yeah. Give it
I
a
could
shot.
try.
Let's see if there's it should have like a present or invite, and I think it has like a share screen, which
Okay.
you can usually do whatever you're looking at, I guess.
Yeah, no, I don't have that. I just have 3 options at the moment.
Oh,
Um, yeah,
any
but no matter.
okay.
So yeah, I mean, okay. So your question was why is the flat Earth so important, right?
Right.
Right. So I mean, we have to start with the Bible. So there are like there is a biblical description of the Earth right at the beginning, actually. So we have the idea of a disk. That's where the flat Earth theory comes from. At its very inception, I think it came from from the Bible. And we have Genesis 1, which tells us about this amazing firmament that took a whole day to construct. Now, a day is not a 24-hour period of time. A day is actually a lot of time. I don't know the how in kind of our years one day would be, but a formless void state that was constructed using foundations and pillars and suspended over nothing. So this is not. If you are a Christian, you have been fooled if you are believing that we are on this sphere, because the sphere I'm going to show you later has other religious connotations, not Christian connotations. So it's this idea of a flat disk shape that brought about the idea of a flat disk, a flat Earth, disk world, right? So you'll see that hidden in a lot of symbolism throughout many different empires, from the Egyptians to the Greeks, Buddhism, even today Hinduism. All of these empires, these empires going back thousands of years, have all had pretty much the same exact concepts. And I think even the people who wrote the Bible were going back to Egyptian teachings to kind of compare with what they had been told. And I think even the Greeks had this opinion. So this is just yeah, it's it's pretty much every empire. So why are we now changing our minds? Because it's only since the 1800s that we've started teaching a spherical or spheroid Earth, right? Uh, the whatever 4,000 or 5,000 years before that, every single empire has been teaching a geocentric kind of idea. Yeah, so you also have God's footstool. So a footstool is a circular flat plane and then pillars underneath, right? So yeah, no matter which part of the Bible you look in, as soon as they discuss the shape of our realm, you end up with this kind of disc shape with pillars holding it up. So it took God, I think, one day to create the heavens and the earth, and it took him one day to create the firmament. So it is a very advanced system that we unfortunately can't maybe
Can I
ever maybe visit or see. Yeah.
ask a question here? When you're
Yeah.
talking about a disk or of some sort, are you talking about just the Earth itself? Or are you talking about the universe? Because I think of the universe being ever expanding, just outside of our ice walls, just outside of our firmament. I think of the universe being expanding. So when you say disk, are you just talking about this is just specific to Earth, or is this specific to the greater expansive realm that we're unaware of? If you believe that we're
Mm.
on a plane and we're limited to a certain area of it.
Yeah. Well, it's the idea of a fixed, immovable, flat, circular plane. So when you see a photo of Earth and they're saying it's round, those are people that are on the fence and they don't want to lie to you and say it's a globe, and they also don't want to tell you the truth that it is a flat disk, a fixed, immovable disk positioned underneath a dome.
Mm.
God is very clear about that information. Genesis 1, 6-8. Psalms 104:5, Job 38:4, Job 26:7, Isaiah 40:22, Job 37:3, Isaiah 11:12, Isaiah 66:1, a footstool, a place creation for habitation, a reflection of God's glory, Isaiah 45:18. But are we? Yeah, I mean, are we? Am I being programmed, therefore, to believe it's a flat Earth? And people who believe it's this heliocentric model, they believe that they are programmed to believe it's a spherical Earth. Now, all I can do is I can um, challenge the globe model, right? I don't want to necessarily jump straight into a beautiful drawing of a flat disk, right, with a dome and keystones that we put on top of every building since the beginning of time, because those are the heaven, the gates of heaven that were opened up when the flood happened. So we know there's water above, there's water below. So a lot of this stuff can also help us with modern science. But no, I don't want to jump straight into a flat Earth model, and I don't want to jump straight into a a map with Hyperborea. Have you seen those
Oh
Hyperborea?
yeah.
Atlantis, Mars, Pluto are not planets; they're just other domes that we can visit. So I don't want to jump it straight into that. Uh, but it is in an awful lot of movies. It is hidden in an awful lot of TV shows, from Game of Thrones to Star Trek. After a while, you start to realize that the truth hidden within something is going to draw us towards it magnetically. Because if you hide a little bit of the truth in Star Trek, people feel attracted to that and they don't know why. If you hide a little bit of truth in Game of Thrones and you have an entire empire called Targaryen, because you've
Mhm.
changed a few words around because you don't want to tell them Tartaria is real, and then you move into that. If you start looking at Star Wars movies, there's so many Moorish, like Moorish architectural sort of fiefdoms and planets, right? And you're flying over them, and you're like, hang on a minute, I've seen this before. This is old esoteric architecture put into a new modern kind of. What are the 3 or 4 things that you need to make an old ancient empire that was removed from history and put them into a futuristic movie? All you really need is a few like stormtroopers, right? Some lasers and CGI flying spaceships. All the rest, the flying airships, all of that, you could that's just taken from the past. That is connected to our ancestral memory that they believe is real, and they can market and sell it back to us. So when you see those beautiful scenes in like especially like the fourth, fifth, and sixth movies, where they call them episode 1, 2, and 3. Um, they put a lot in there. They put, because they knew more back then. Whereas the first Star Wars, I think they were very limited. I think they knew they were going to do something about colonialism and maybe the British Empire, and then the rebels were probably uh, uh, Native Americans. I don't know. Yeah, but they were trying to always pick something that we could identify with, that we could understand, right? So even when you watch like the Na'vi, they have a god in the movie Avatar. They have a god called Hewa, right? I think that's their god. So they all have the same god, which is basically Yahweh backwards. Have you realized that?
No, it's
So
the
so
first
they
time.
they are all, yeah. So instead of saying Yahweh, Jehovah, Yahweh, they are saying Ewa. So they're just reversing the phonetics, because that works. We don't know why it works. Even if you've never read the Bible, that still works. That works in China. That works in America. That works everywhere. Because that is part of our core kind of programming. That's how we're born. We're born with those instincts. Yeah. So selling that back to us is just a way to make money. And if you can try to pick up on what those things are, I think that's the beginning of like the key out of the matrix kind of thing. Because they know it's important, they can manipulate us with that information. So they'll use the word Lucifer instead of Satan because it's nicer. Why is it nicer? Because we don't want to hear the word Satan. Then they use the word Santa instead of Satan because it's nicer. It's still Satan. They still want the word Satan, something red, something dangerous, something that gives you things, right? Something that breaks in your house, because that's all Satan really wants to do, is get inside your house. So what is the house? Well, the house is obviously your mind, right? But it's always been that. It's been that in Egypt. It was that in Rome. They kind of copied each other. The Greeks copied the Egyptians. Rome copied Greece, and I also have seen that with like NASA. You've got the same letters there. You've got this kind of snake tongue coming down because really it's about you. It's about manipulating you. So when someone is talking to you about that, someone like me, someone like you, uh, when we are trying to wake people up, we are giving ourselves that confidence to go further. And if you believe in God, if you believe in creation, if you believe in any of that, you are going to become better at this. Your brain is going to start to use that 80% that we are told we never use. And the subconscious has a really good way of helping you out when you can't remember something. Yeah. But it is definitely frequency. And that's why the spherical Earth is so destructive to the consciousness of the young mind, even young people, because it makes you think that you are worthless, you have no purpose, and you are hurtling through space for absolutely no reason whatsoever. And if you begin that, you can start to sever that connection with your spiritual self. So, all of those skills, those abilities, those great notions of art, of life after death, the things that were so important to the Egyptians, for example, that they built their entire civilization on that. So if you lose that connection with your ancestors, with the past, life and death becomes nothing. It's easier to kill people, commit crimes, right? Because there's no point to it anyway. You've been taught that at a young age, and that's why it's destructive. That's why it is this mundial thing. And that is very powerful for people who look into it, because it tells us that the demons have only this thing to work with. That is the sole sort of um uh you know uh alpha alpha omega kind of yin and yang. Those are the complete sort of limits to their power here on Earth. Now, were they always so powerless? No, they weren't, because they used to create their own offspring. Yeah, all of these stories about Hercules, these great heroes of Agamemnon's army that conquered Troy. These were the children of the children that were bred by the Nephilim, that were the direct descendants of the fallen angels. There's every single civilization has that story of someone who has a human father and a Nephilim, or a higher level mother. Because this is something we've gotten wrong the entire history of the earth so far. We've got this wrong. We thought that these angels were males, and they could not have been. It's impossible. The simple logic of a male giving birth to children is it makes no sense. But we've always been told that. We've always been misinformed. These fallen angels were female, and we could be talking about a great multitude of angels that are female, or that at least have the ability to change sex at will. So they came down, they wanted to be female, they turned themselves female, and then they gave birth to giants. And this is where we get the manticore from, the lion with the man's face, all of these like centaurs that seem to follow us. Every civilization seems to embrace these creatures like it's some memory that we can't shake, I mean, you have all kinds of creatures. Um, uh, uh, I mean, even when you look at the Cynocephali, I think they were breeding these large Goliath Cyclops type creatures, and that's what they were doing. They were trying to create an army and maybe even conquer heaven. And I think then they had to be taught this lesson, and they constantly lost dimensions. I think they lost their ability to recreate And now they are almost invisible to us, really, aren't they? I mean, there's not many people that can see demons, and uh, and again, if they can get this spherical teaching across, it's kind of their last bastion. It's their last hiding place to keep us on a low frequency. And there's no more time. We can't carry on with this, a ball hurtling through space. It's really simple, and God has never made it hard for us. He's never said, "Oh, this is going to be a complicated book you'll never understand." You can understand the Bible. The Bible's not insanely. I mean, it was written by tax collectors and fishermen. It's not it's not some high esoteric thing that alienates people. And when you look at the sky, I don't think that was ever supposed to be complicated. I really don't. I think we were supposed to look at the sky. The sun is the same size as the moon. There you go. The sun comes out during the day. The moon comes out at night. During the day, you can do all of the things you want to do, and then things will grow, photosynthesis, all of these beautiful. This electricity comes to us. We breathe in the electricity. We breathe in the sun's energy. The Son of God is as much esoteric as it is a spiritual thing. And then at night you go to bed and you rest, and you have that high magnetic power, and then during the day you have that high electric power when you can physically move. I mean, for most people at night it's harder. If it's a dark room, we are less likely to be energetic, because our body is converting that light, God's gift, God's energy, God's life force. And I think it was always that simple. I think every time science gets involved, it just becomes a complicated thing. It becomes impossible for most people to understand, and then you can start to put some people up, put some people down. You can start to create hierarchy. And I honestly don't believe anymore that we even landed on the moon in 1969. That's what you start to realize. That when you see, have you heard of Alex Holt, who climbed to the top of Taipei 101?
Was this just recently?
Yeah.
Yeah. I was just
last week.
there was some betting going on about that.
Yeah, like would he make it, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Would he live?
Yeah, he made it. And he couldn't go live because at the top of Taipei 101 there's no Wi-Fi. And that made me think about 1969. How was I think you know what I'm going to say. How do we get this like live feed from the moon in 1969 when computers are literally the size of entire rooms? I think we have like 400 times the power in our phone. The computing power, and you get at the top of Taipei 101. I mean, it is an incredibly tall building. I think for a few years it was the tallest building in the world. So I mean, it is a pretty high building. But does it make any kind of sense that we can't get Wi-Fi on the top of Taipei 101? Even when he's shooting for Netflix, he can't. So I'm thinking to myself, well, I mean, that's kind of a wake-up call, isn't it? I mean, 1969, we get to the moon, first step on the moon. Somehow we have video footage being recorded, and somehow the camera actually records the lift off back from the moon. And yeah, I mean, how was that live feed possible? Was that faked? I mean, that must have been faked, surely. Yeah, because the telemetry data conveniently is all gone. It's been destroyed. So I think that yeah, I mean, we're supposed to believe that was a mistake, but this was.
I don't know if you've heard
for a long time.
This theory. This is I don't know if this is a newer theory, but it's a theory that what we were shown was faked, but the real one actually occurred.
Okay.
That's basically what the I guess you would call them controlled ops. Joe Rogan is now saying these are what these folks are now saying.
No,
they used to be the guys that you would go to for this kind of stuff, and then all of a sudden they started changing their tune. So I guess that's just part of
the. Joe Rogan's friend, called Eddie Bravo, explained it probably as well as anyone can with as much enthusiasm and sense stress, that this how come once they arrived back on Earth they weren't excited, they weren't happy about this event, they were just looking like, what, we have to say what, like they look confused. And I think he started talking about the Van Allen belt, which are these two donut shaped zones of like energetic particles, like protons and electrons. And this is part of the model. So if you stick to this heliocentric model, then you have to also accept this radiation environment around the planet. You can't suddenly pretend that doesn't exist just because you want the moon landings to be real. Yeah, you have to stick to it because you need that to keep the atmosphere within a you know a this oblique spheroid theory, right? So they want to pretend that didn't exist in 1969 because we hadn't discovered it. That's insane. I do not excuse insane theories like that. I can't. I don't have time for that. Yeah. You go for the truth, and you have to be brutal with people when you talk to them, because they will be brutal with you if you make a mistake. Trust me. I've been in a lot of debates about this. So you have protons and electrons trapped by Earth's magnetic field. Otherwise, there is no ozone layer, no magnetism, nothing holding us down, no gravity, which is the other theory. Well, if you have a protective but hazardous radiation environment, all those people would have died. And because they didn't even know about that in 1969, right? That was not discovered. So here's my big problem with that. If you didn't know about that theory, you wouldn't have built a craft that protected itself from radiation. I'm not saying that a craft could pass through, because I honestly don't believe, if you're talking about radiation particles, that it can pass through. That is as much of a limit to our ability to escape this realm as anything. I mean, my theory is that actually we're talking about water vapor and dense water. That's why when you see these kind of Elon Musk's space, is it SpaceX, his company that sends the rockets up now? So that is also funded by NASA, but to a large extent, I think. But those also very obviously do this big curve. They're just kind of cutting into and following the firmament. It doesn't prove anything to me. But just because you have eyes to see doesn't mean you're going to see it, right? I mean, most people would just look up there and, oh, that looks amazing. He's leaving the atmosphere. But if you keep looking, it just looks too much like going along a very dense. I think it's called silica crystals. They say once the water becomes so tightly packed at the molecules, so you're just kind of going in there and kind of carving out a piece of the firmament, which is still spectacular in itself. I mean, I'm not taking anything away from Elon Musk's accomplishments, but you can't have a radiation Van Allen belt within this heliocentric model and then pretend that we went through it without knowing it existed in 1969.
Yeah.
And I don't know why we aren't talking about 1969 more, and there's a lot of like there was a lot of interesting numerology within the landing, the time, the date, all of that. Yeah. But obviously that also makes me worry a little bit about the whole concept of satellites. That maybe satellites themselves are just these weather balloons, and they're just hoisted up underneath that firmament. Because that also then it pulls everything into question. And then you think about the hundreds of billions that have gone to NASA for this kind of research, and this may have just been wasted because it didn't get the results. But I understand that. I mean, I understand when you're in a space race with Russia and you're threatened by them, that you have to come up with something, and it is genius to make the whole world believe, So you have to give credit where credit's due. That is, in my opinion, to tell people that you went through this 25,000 kilometer radiation belt with a rocket in 1969, and managed to phone back home. I don't know how I mean, there must have been a lot of cosmonauts doing that in Russia too. I know the Nazis started that whole space race with their own rockets. But I think the Nazis were doing exactly the same thing that they did so well, making movies and propaganda and keeping people, uh, as far away from biblical text as they can,
Mm,
because yeah, um, cosmic radiation is different than radiation in Chernobyl. It's a far more serious thing. Yeah, I'm talking about like, yeah, eyeballs popping, skin off your, face, like.
right.
It's That's no joke. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So
can I
Jet.
ask you a question? I mean, just because you've gone deep into these topics, what are your thoughts about the stars, the celestial bodies? At night when I see these stars and some are brighter, some are twinkling. I get my phone out
Yeah.
sometimes. I record them and then I record it and then I zoom it in. It looks like there's some sort of like plasma, watery, beautiful looking snowflake thing in the sky. But it seems that a lot of
Yeah.
people are reading into the stars and getting information from the stars or reading or predicting the future or something like that. And what are they?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I find that fascinating. I don't have like a too many theories on that. I mean, you're obviously looking at some kind of light reflection, which refraction, sorry, that happens like underwater. Yeah? When you
Mm,
Because when they do zoom in, when people like private astrologers, not the mainstream, because then you get a lot of like CGI images. But
right.
yeah, when you look into yourself, the twinkling idea of stars is something that happens when light is refracted through water.
Mm,
So we could be looking at very powerful and angelic beings looking down on us. But it's all in the name for me as well. Like, if you say constellations, you are combining two words, right? Constant and illumination. So it's a constant illumination. It's not something that changes. It's something that's kind of
mm.
rotating like a planisphere. Yeah. So yeah. I mean, you can do this. Some people have done this experiment online where they create their own kind of glass dome and then put water and then shine the water through the lens. You can do it yourself with a wine glass and water and a flashlight, and you can get pretty much exactly the same geometrical patterns as you do when you're looking through a telescope.
Mm.
So I mean, this does kind of support the whole firmament being water. Yeah. Um, yeah, but there's so many historical events too that support this. Even the underwater cables. Have you ever looked into the telecommunication cable networks
Yeah, aren't like
that they have?
99% of them under the water?
Right. So
Yeah,
if
it's like insane.
99% if 99% is in fact is in fact cables, then I doubt very much that satellites are reliable in any way, shape, or form. Right. I mean,
Yeah.
you can't rely on
You
them.
would have been able to get Wi-Fi on the top of the Taipei whatever building, right? If the
You would have had
satellites are up
Wi-Fi.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. This is true. Yeah.
Mm. We're gonna
Yeah,
get these
that's this
guys.
is yeah. Yeah, this is all like quite yeah, I mean, this is all like pretty fascinating, but there are a lot of people that are um coming up with solutions to every argument that we've spoken of. I mean, we're not really going in as deep as some people have, but yeah, I mean, you'll be surprised how many different answers they can come up with for like almost every time. I mean, there are certain people that almost everything that you say, they have something prepared. They have some kind of argument to counter, to counter you, because they're paid. They're paid to do that research,
Mhm.
to go very deeply into things. But no, I mean the seasons, all of that makes perfect sense under the this flat Earth model. Even the horizon line meeting your eye line, your view, um, and like if you look at large bodies of water, back when people were able to get the high zoom lenses, which they've taken off the market now, but you do get they do give you this illusion of curvature, which has to happen at regular intervals. But when you actually go to the horizon line and you zoom in, you can still see ships that you shouldn't be able to see, that should be completely swallowed by the horizon. And there are a lot I mean there's a lot of great footage of that. Um, it's actually getting easier to find now. I don't think there are many people left that genuinely believe that the Earth is a spinning ball. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think for me, like the best way to even approach this with anybody that's at least interested in hearing the idea that there may be something else
Mm.
is just to say that, I don't know what it is, but I just don't believe it's a ball. Like that to
Yeah.
me is, I think, a great way to introduce the whole concept, to at least get people like, well, what do you mean by that? Well, I know when you look out, your eyesight only has so much vision it can see, and so things drop off. And so it may appear that your perceptions are that it's on some sort of curve, but maybe you just can't see that far. And so, you know what I mean? It's just a fun little
Yeah.
topic.
Yeah. I mean, it's great when you do find the stories like a lady giving birth flying from New York to Taiwan, um, uh, was giving birth, and the plane suddenly landed in Turkey when it should have been in South America. So, so looking into it in more detail is also very rewarding sometimes, because if you know that you're right, and you've found different ways to understand the firmament, the different layers of the firmament, the different densities, it can give you an incredible insight into things. Um, looking at those emergency landings, there are quite a few of them, and there was one from Taiwan to New York, Taiwan, and that woman was giving birth on the plane. The pilot didn't want the death of that kid on his hand, just to maintain, so on his hands, right? Blood on his hands, just to sort of maintain this kind of oath that he must have taken at some point. A lot of them have taken oaths to go certain paths instead of direct flights, and that's a fascinating rabbit hole to go down. It can actually like help you, come to terms with it, because the hardest thing is to be convinced that you've been lied to your whole life. That's the real milestone, the real hurdle. Once you are on board with it and you're looking in it with a clear mind, without bias, yeah, then all of this becomes really simple, almost like superficial, really. I mean, so, some of this is so simple, like just the seasons changing because there's a tilt. No, the sun and the moon look like they're the same size. The angles of light coming down through clouds, you follow those, and you should get to the sun, right? So why aren't they all parallel? If the sun is in fact, I think it's what is it, 4,000 miles away or something? Yeah. So no, not 4,000 miles away. I think it's more than that. Oh, sorry. The sun is 400 times bigger than the moon, 400 times further away from the Earth. Yeah. So none of that makes sense when you understand the angles of light that are hitting, going through clouds, at dusk or dawn. So yeah. So this is a good thing to look into. I think it's the most important thing in a lot of ways. Um, and I mean, I've only just really kind of started doing it in the last year or so. But there is a lot of content. I mean, there are a lot of people posting about this regularly, and everyone should look into it. Yeah, because if you're not willing to ask questions, you're never going to get answers, right? So start with, I know it's not a ball. Okay, I know that water doesn't collect like that, and if we're spinning 66.6, if we're spinning, then a helicopter wouldn't just hover above a very specific dead center kind of location, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, that was yeah. I mean, I guess I was kind of. It's a fun little topic to talk about. It's actually been the biggest topic I've talked about the entire time I've been doing the podcast. It's the most important thing. Is probably the one thing that got me to really jump into all kinds of different theories and ideas. Did we lose you? We might have lost you here. You're frozen. It got to you. The sun and moon are 44 miles above us. I mean, I can see them. You know what I mean? It's like, it's not that far away. It's surely not 93 million miles away. How do you, that's just as soon as somebody says that, boom, he's back.
Sorry,
That's okay.
we had a disconnection with the Wi-Fi.
Oh, no problem at all. We were enjoying the topics that you've brought to us today. So
Yeah,
the floor
it's
is
fun.
yours.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. So what were we talking about? We're talking about the
Flat Earth. We're talking about celestial bodies.
yeah.
Talking about the control, the sphere, the ball. It's sort of the the mind control, I guess, so to speak, is to think that we're on some sort of rock flying through the cosmos with no discernible direction.
Purpose. Yeah.
Purpose. Yeah, purpose.
Yeah. So obviously that is that like I always see that as a clue as to what our greatest power must be. That our greatest ability in this realm is to manifest something, or to find a purpose that is greater than ourselves, because that's what we're being kind of told to avoid considering. Yeah. So to try to tear down a person's confidence, and to remove their intuition, their connection with the Most High, to remove their ability to see themselves as anything other than, animalistic. I think all of that inspires crime. It inspires usually a lack of masculinity, maybe even removing a person's ability to connect with other people. Lack of communication is very similar to a lack of intuition, because if you can't understand what's going on, then you're going to be on your own in this sort of unhealthy environment. Even people who sort of isolate themselves too much without any sort of purpose, or the inability to socially manage their own relationships, develop close relationships that can then lead to building a family. Yeah. And I think it's very hard to find purpose without family, without creating some kind of connection with other people. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have like children, or you have to have a big family, but having somebody to reflect your own thoughts, desires, issues, because we're all faced with problems every day. So if you have removed that from yourself, because you're on a rock hurtling through space and everything you do is completely irrelevant, then yeah, you are creating a foundation for a very unhappy existence, usually one that ends with hurting other people, destruction of property, any of those basic sort of uh, um, antisocial kind of behavior. But you can see that with young people though as well. You can see there, if you have a purpose, if you have something to achieve, whether it's your career or even like social media and making money, these things are rarely more than just a journey somewhere. And it's very hard, I think, to do that without losing a part of yourself, without maybe even sacrificing some ability to love yourself. Because I'm pretty sure that if you've done something like terrible in life, um, uh, that you have to then deal with that later on. In like in Hinduism they call that karma, like the balance, a greater balance, your conscious, your conscience, sorry, in Christianity. So it is something that, like, if you're the only person that can really harm yourself, external influence can't do anything to you. Yeah, it's all water off back if you have a strong mental frame of reference, and there's nothing stronger than a connection with the creator. The devil can't create. The devil has no creation ability. So he literally he can't create and he can't destroy, but he can manipulate, and he can use those kind of devilish tactics. And the very foundation of that for me is this idea that that you are living on a ball, a rock hurtling through space. And if there are Christians who believe that, then they really haven't understood the Bible, you know. And it's like, if a historian doesn't admit that there was a large Tartarian empire, they're not a historian. If a Christian does not, buys into this heliocentric instead of this geocentric, I think then this is not a scientist. This is a religious fanatic, and it is not somebody who has probably even read the Bible fully and understood it. Yeah.
I couldn't agree more. There's not to cut you off, but there's this meme or something I saw that said that, you know what? I'm not looking to share truth with anybody anymore because the truth's out there and people are hiding from it now. Like, they're
Yeah.
legitimately, the answers are out here. If you're a Christian, there's plenty of, people out here talking about Christianity. There's
Yeah.
plenty of people out here talking about flat earth. There's talking about alternative history. And now it's just people that are just, they don't even want to hear it. They're just hiding from it. That's what it seems.
Yeah, I mean, like the Bible is like a sword, and truth is like a sword. So it's not nice. I mean, there are lots of truths about everyone that we'd rather probably have kind of hidden, right? Because we're not perfect. We haven't got to the perfect frequency. Um, but every time, this is also very important with any argument that you have with someone about anything really. Every time they try to beat you, or they think they have the ultimate, you know, death move, Mortal Kombat, like the kill switch, you know, Thanos's, clicking of his fingers. If they believe that they have the checkmate, every time, 100% of the time, that exact action or that thing that they think that they have got you, by the cojones with, that's the key. That is the way that you can destroy them. Their arguments, sorry, not not destroy them, but that, and it's always a counter. If you want to be a great boxer, if you want to be a great predator in the wild, it's when someone is attacking you, that's when they're at their weakest. So if, like, there are a lot of people who say, oh, look at the sky, look at Mercury, Venus. Well, that is the exact way to defeat them, defeat their argument. It's very much like chess. This is chess, not checkers. This is, the key to every empire is within the games that we play. It is within the way that we think. And if somebody's trying to prove something to you, wait for them to attack you. And the moment that they attack you, Remember exactly how they worded it, because that is what they believe is your weakness. But it is never your weakness, because they don't know you. They don't know themselves. Because when you attack someone with one specific target in mind, with one weakness in mind, that is their weakness. Yeah. So if you look at any empire, they always fell that way. They always fell from the inside. It was always the people that they thought were unimportant, that they looked down on, that were the ones that ended up switching the. Switch. It's a mirror. We are all a mirror of each other. You are me, I am you, just different situation, different frequency, different point in time, different situation. We are all God's consciousness. So when you turn away from that and you say something bad about yourself, that is you are telling your body to listen to you, because you are the manifesting power here. We are all little pieces of God, and if we don't purify ourselves with reasoning, intelligence, all the tools we were given these tools. Like you don't have to teach a baby how to breathe, how to walk. They will learn on their own.